What's going on, gamers? Silent Hill 2 lovers, horror lovers, PlayStation lovers, tech lovers. So we see in the last patch 1.05, the PlayStation 5 Pro had the Silent Hill 2 update. Well, apparently the remedy to fix the issue, since they've been messing around with it, it just seems to be an issue. They had to remove it from this patch and optimize the game the way that it was kind of optimized for the Pro patch. So it has the Pro patch, it runs better, but the PSSR is out of the picture. So this is an issue. So we see it's not necessarily a problem with the Pro update, because if you put a better GPU in something, you know what I mean, it's obvious you could slide up some settings a bit. You can just do that on PC without it being too complicated, right? Anybody can go into any files, make a mod, and say, yeah, I made the game run better real quick. That's not much of a problem. As we know, Nexus mod communities and in general do this type of stuff. But here we see that PSSR is not a significant improvement, and it's not helping in the picture until maybe they figure out, uh, yeah, this is needed here. We saw yesterday in my video that it's having problems on Gran Turismo 7. It's having problems on God of War Ragnarok. It's having problems on Star Wars Jedi Survivor. It's having problems on Alan Wake 2. And a lot of people were thinking that when they watched that Sony showcase, and by the way, this is not beating down anything, this is just saying that it's having problems. You had some people dreaming that it was going to be closer on par with NVIDIA's Deep Learning Super Sibling, DLSS. Not even close. It's not even better than FSR, because FSR works and it's optimized. And that's AMD's tech. I had somebody recently make a comment saying, you really think that PSSR is the same as FSR? It's better. It's like, no, it's not. It's a childish comment, because you need to understand that Sony is not the masters of AMD technology. AMD is. They're using AMD technology to put a different label on FSR. It's literally FSR, but it's Sony's version that they're trying to mess around with themselves. And developers have had FSR for years, no problem, and they've had DLSS for years, but yet somehow PSSR is having issues with the PlayStation 5 integrated technology. So there's something in there that Sony is doing that is just not as optimized for the AMD tech as you would see with FSR. That's why I was trying to tell people that it's Sony's custom tweaked version, but it's having issues. So people need to accept that and realize that it's not as good as you think it is, and that it needs a lot more time to develop. So we're going to go in here and see the difference, what it turned off. As you see right here, it got removed, and let's see what it's about.
With Silent Hill 2, we have, unfortunately, another example on how PSSR should not work in a game. Just a couple of days after they updated the game with 1.05, which also included PSSR for the graphics and performance mode, they now removed PSSR with version 1.06. And if you haven't watched Digital Foundry's videos to Silent Hill 2 patch 1.05, then I would strongly recommend to do that, because I missed out actually to test 1.05, so I can't actually compare the performance mode with 1.05 with the performance mode in 1.06. Also, unfortunately, I don't have a disk version what they have also tested. So they actually tested version 1.0, so the disk version versus the latest patch back then, 1.05, and they found also that the image quality with version 1.0 is much better than with 1.05. But what about the latest update, 1.06 now, which is removing PSSR from the performance mode? And when we're now comparing actually performance mode PlayStation 5 Pro with PlayStation base or base PlayStation 5, then you can see that the picture image quality is actually very identical. Okay, let's say like this. We're not going into much details right now. It's just really comparing if we now back to the old state. But when we're now comparing the quality mode where PSSR is still active on the PlayStation 5 Pro, then you can actually see why they removed PSSR from the performance mode. And also interesting to see is that in regards of performance, and again I'm comparing my video to Digital Foundry when they tested patch 1.05 with PSSR enabled in the performance mode, I can't now, with version 1.06, where they removed PSSR, you hardly find any difference in regards of performance. I mean, sometimes the PlayStation 5 Pro has a couple of frames more, sometimes the base PlayStation 5. So it's actually quite similar. Back then, 1.05, according to Digital Foundry, had an improvement of around 10 FPS with PSSR enabled in the performance mode. Okay, my friends, so this was just a very quick video about the latest update, patch 1.06, which is now removing PSSR from the performance mode because it introduced a lot of issues. And I watched Digital Foundry's video. It just looks absolutely awful. I mean, the performance mode already in Silent Hill 2 is it's not very nice looking. Okay, let's say like this. Okay,
Yeah, yesterday it was not showing much improvements for Gran Turismo 7, and you were getting like 20 FPS drops. What's the point then? You know what I mean? And you had some people thinking that, oh no, it's because of the Silent Hill developers. Or these. No, 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 it's problems everywhere. Why is it problems with Sony first-party games? No, it's just something that they still have to figure out, and it's not working as well as people thought. And like I said, Sony are not the masters of AMD technology. AMD is. And there's developers that have been using that for a very long time since it came out, whereas this is Sony's first time getting it, and they have a lot of work to do with it. Because it's like I took it, and this is my way of using AMD technology, and I'm going to call it PSSR. So we need to understand it's never going to be DLSS because that's NVIDIA's mastery of their technology. This is what a lot of people don't understand. FSR would still be better at the moment because it's tweaked for developers to understand it at the highest degree for what it can be used until they make it better. As we see, they're working on 4.0, and that's going to be amazing for Series X and everything else. But Sony's saying, I want to use our own and call it this, and this is how I want it for my hardware, right? Because they understand their hardware, because they've always been using their hardware. But AMD technology, that's different. That's what we need to understand the difference. So it's not like they can make something better than what AMD has optimized at the moment for everybody to use. It's going to take some time, y'all. So I guess maybe it was better to get this out now. So by the time PS6 comes out, it's more better and friendly for developers to use. And then people can say, yeah, this is easy. Let me just do this instead of just, oh man, this is just an issue. Just turn it off, you know? This is not downplaying. This is understanding that they have a lot to learn here. So people just need to realize that all I'm doing here is showing facts. I had somebody coming on the thread yesterday trying to make excuses and defense on it. I'm like, dude, I'm sharing results here. I'm not making up anything. I'm not editing anything. You know, this is just straight facts and math and results and comparisons with the grids we're seeing. If you argue against that, you're just being ignorant. So that's my thing about that.
I still prefer it because of the 60 or target 60 FPS in combination with VRR, but it's not a very good looking resolution game on the PlayStation 5. With PSSR, I was actually expecting to get a better image quality as in other games, but my experience so far, and again, I like to be honest, is actually quite the opposite. So PSSR is not making the image better in many games.
Yes.
We have introduced film noise or something like that, or a grainy noise on the picture all the time, plus this shimmering, plus this flickering, and sometimes it even costs a lot of FPS. So right now PSSR has a lot of issues, and I just hope that they will work on that, because I'm pretty sure, you know, don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure PSSR is the future, or upscaling in general, regardless of what the name is, you know, FSR, DLSS, PSSR, whatever comes, you know, that's how it should work. And when we just comparing, or when we just looking at DLSS, it had a long way to go. It started with version 1.0, whatever it started, and it was not perfect. It was far away from being perfect. I mean, it's not perfect now, but the result, what I'm getting when I'm using DLSS, is just absolutely fantastic. And I prefer this all the time over native 4K. And I'm hoping we get the same result at some point with PSSR as well.
Exactly.
But right now, it's not even close to be usable.
So you see what he just said. It's not like we want it to be bad. No, we're just telling you the honest results. If you're thinking about buying a PS5 Pro, or you're trying to wonder, you know, about certain things. If you're getting it for PSSR and you think this is going to be some game changer like DLSS, it has some time to go. So just remember that, guys. I'm just here trying to give you the honest results. Other than that, you're paying to get a bigger hard drive with a mid-gen GPU upgrade that's trying to compete with a 4060. All right, y'all. Peace out. Like, comment, and subscribe. Later.